All right, Tom F on Longview in my section. Scope of work is going to be shrub trimming, bunch of trimming, all in the front yard, a little bit of weeding, and then notes for myself. He also wants a price on snow removal and bi-weekly mowing. So said he's paying $50 every other week for myself for reference for mowing currently. So for the over here, you also want 8-foot ladder for sure. Probably could get away without the 12-foot, but the 8-foot should do it. So for this here, you're gonna trim back 3-foot all the way around. So especially over here, like kind of trimming off the house and then bring it all down 3-foot everywhere. Haul away all the clippings and debris.
All right, well, let's finish
All right,
this.
see ya. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
All right, so over here, we're gonna trim this back. Basically all the trimming you wanna trim back as aggressively as you can without it being like dramatically browned out. So trim all this back, shape it up. The beds here, we're gonna do weeding. There's one section I'm gonna separate out weeding for him, but everything else will include like weeding out of the beds. So weed out the beds. This whole, like all this right here, all rip it out. It's all viney, weedy, funky stuff. Jack all that out. This guy can get trimmed back. This guy can get trimmed back. Same thing here, this like burning bush, just trim that back. For the trimming, or for the weeding, you got weeds coming down here. So weed all that out. I'll include that in with it. Trimming this guy back, all you're gonna do is just trim the low stuff, nothing high. So nothing above, I'd say 4 feet, like all these like spokes coming off. Cut all that out. Basically you just want to see the root of that kind of exposed, but all that growth, get rid of it. Moving over to here, so all the weeds coming up through this juniper, yank all them out. Then just take like a string trimmer, string trim the juniper here to kind of get it off the walkway. What you could probably do just to hook them up, I didn't talk about or anything, just string trim out these pavers. Looks like he sprayed something, but just to kill out all that. Over here you got a bunch of weeds. Yank all these weeds out. All this weed pull out. Light trimming of that azalea here. Yank all these weeds. Cut this guy back kind of aggressively. Kind of cut it off the household. Raise it up here. This juniper, you pretty much leave the juniper alone, but all the weeds and stuff, yank all that out. There's like a viney weed growing back there, if you can yank that. Light pruning of this. Same thing here with the juniper. Take a string trimmer, kind of get it off the walkway, pull all the weeds, any weeds back there, yank them out. All the weeds here, yank out. Trim all this up a little bit. This is the area I'm gonna put as separately for bed cleanup. There is mulch under there. It needs like an aggressive weeding, string trimming, really busting it out. I'll put that as separate because he kind of was like, didn't seem super interested. He said he might just spray it with something. So I'll put that as a separate line item, see if he accepts. A couple weeds under the maple you can clean up. Obviously all these weeds, clean up, cut this back, like I said. This boxwood, trim back. Any weeds in here, trim all these boxwoods. And then this Japanese maple. So this Japanese maple, don't really want to trim it too much. I would say just cut like real low, like kind of like an umbrella cut, but only take it maybe like 3 or 4 inches off the ground. Kind of cut that out. Any weeds and vines that you see growing, pull all them out. And then some of the stuff up top, anything that's like sticking out, just give that a light prune. But don't get aggressive with any trimming of this. Over here, the boxwood, all this viney weed growing on the boxwood, yank all that off, get rid of it. Then the boxwoods, you can trim them lightly. This over here, most of this is like a vine weed going on here. So yank all this out. It's hard to kind of tell exactly what's in there. I think there's an azalea buried underneath that. So yank all these weeds and vines off of it, and then you can trim the azalea back a little bit. All these white flowery things are all weeds. Just yank all them out, get rid of them. Light prune in shape of that. The weeds over here, just hit it with a string trimmer. He said he'll spray out any like existing growth. We don't got to go nuts with it, but any of the big stuff, if you can pull it, and then you could string trim a little bit of the other stuff. And then the last stretch of stuff here. So this area, you have like, that's a weed. Just cut that, get rid of it. a lot of this, as you get in it, you'll probably be able to tell like what's a weed, what's not. Like that's a weed, this is a weed, but there is, it looks like a lot of forsythias in here that need a good trim back. So want to try to level, and then there's like riverjack here. You want to cut this back pretty aggressively so that the riverjack is exposed and it's kind of getting out of his yard. So trim that back. Over here, you'll definitely want the 8-foot. I mean, maybe the 12-foot. You could get away without the 12-foot, but you know, you just might have to raise your arms up and use like an extender pole. So, but you want to try to trim the top here. The top is probably 12 foot high, I would say. So up to you what you want to do, but 8 foot minimum. Anyway, so trim all that, just kind of give it as level as you can. And like I said, you want to cut this back away from his yard, kind of bring it back to where the riverjack stone is. And then obviously haul away all the clippings. And then the last thing, this tree, just gonna do a light trimming. Just some of the really low branches, just cut out. Maybe some of the stuff on the side cut out, just to kind of give it a little bit of shape. Nothing on the top, nothing real aggressive, just some of the low hanging stuff. And some of the stuff sticking out the side a little bit, just cut off a little bit. And that's it.